everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new here, I am Meffan and I am your yoga teacher for today. So today we are going to be doing a yoga flow for runners. Let's face it, it's yoga for everyone. All yoga is for everybody, but I had some requests for yoga for runners, so stretching out that lower body. So that's what we're going to be working on today, with the addition of a little bit of kind of glute engagement and core engagement, because even though you run and you need that like nice deep stretch in the lower body, you still need to be so aware of the core and also always have those glutes in mind as well, because they're what kind of keep us nice and strong. So without further ado, we're going to get started. We're just going to come down to a comfortable seated position. So if you need some blocks to sit up on, then I recommend having those. Maybe if you've got props like blocks, bolsters and straps, get those out. Maybe just pop me on pause, get those out and bring them to your mat, because we may use those in a little bit. Okay, so just coming to sit and ground down as always, closing off the eyes. So maybe some of you are doing this after a run, some of you are about to go for a run, some of you absolutely hate running and have no desire to go out and run at all. But wherever you are in your day, in your world, take a moment to scan the body. So as we sit here in this position, notice what feels good, maybe notice what doesn't feel so good. Just bringing the mind to parts of the body that are particularly open, and then parts of the body that maybe feel a little bit more closed off for you today. Growing tall through the crown of the head, as you really ground down through the lower half of the body, every single part of you that's connected with your mat. Just staying, watching the breath, observing. So we may have some very new yogis with us doing this flow. Maybe people that just feel like you need a little stretch post-run. So when I talk about ujjayi breath and things like that, just bring your mind to the breath. So in through the nose and out through the nose, without making any big yogi adjustments to it. Just try and feel the stretch, but through the breath. Just lowering the chin down to the chest, opening through the back of the neck. And then just taking half neck rolls, so the neck opens round to the right ear, to the right shoulder, back down through center, left ear, left shoulder. Just working through those two sides. And then coming back to neutral, fluttering open the eyes and lifting the head. Okay, taking the feet out as wide as you can. So if you're living in a slightly tighter body, your feet are going to be maybe a little bit closer together. Maybe sitting yourself up on a block as well, giving the pelvis a bit of a tilt, finding a little bit more space. So from here, we're just going to sit tall, grounding down through the hands. You want to feel like the thighs are rotating outwards. So you could almost take the hands onto the thighs, give it a little self-adjust here, really tilting outwards. If you're already feeling a stretch in this position, I just want you to take the hands down to the mat, grow tall through the spine and focus on the breath. Maybe you want to walk the hands forward a little bit. The whole time bringing the mind to this outward rotation of the thighs. So wherever you come to, feeling that stretch. So the stretch is kind of twofold. Depending on how open you are, you might be feeling it in the backs of the legs, the hamstrings, and then through the groin area and all down the inside of the leg. So coming to find your stretch. Staying with those breaths, nice slow inhales and exhales through the nose. Then you're going to walk the hands around to the right side. So again, if you're sitting tall and you're feeling the stretch, then you're doing the right thing. If you need to walk a little bit deeper to feel the stretch, then that's all good as well. And then drawing the body up, walk back round through center, coming over to the left leg. And again, same options apply, either being slightly higher up with the chest. This is not about how low you can get the head down. We're all about keeping the spine nice and long and just coming to a place where you can feel now the stretch in that left hamstring. And bringing yourself all the way up. Okay, you are going to take the hands sort of to the outside of that left foot, moving that left foot, swing the left foot around, coming on over to all fours. So from our all fours position, taking the right foot out to the back of the mat, and you're going to push that heel away, so pushing through the hands as you push the heel away, hopefully feeling a nice deep stretch down the top of the calf muscle here. Pushing away, but breathing into that stretch. With every exhale, you feel the body kind of release a little bit more into the stretch. Kind of makes it a bit more intense, but that's because your body's allowing you to go a bit deeper. And then from here, lifting up the right foot. So like I said, going to tap into the glutes just a little bit today. And so flexing the back foot, you want to keep the hips square. So this isn't about you lifting that leg super high and arching into the lumbar spine, just small movements here. So lifting up. Small lifts, and each time squeezing into the bottom. So maybe really feeling that right glute, the right butt cheek, switching on. And release it down. Nice, okay. Taking the left leg out, long behind you, finding that calf stretch again. So pushing away through the hands, stretching the back foot away. Connecting with the breath. And then releasing the stretch, lifting up the left foot. So we're flexing that left foot, hips are square, and we're just lifting up through that leg. Small movements, nothing like jolting and jarring into the spine. So this whole time, kind of working on the glutes, but we're having to really switch on the core as well to keep us stable. And release it down. Beautiful. From here, you're going to lower yourself all the way down to the mat, coming to find Sphinx. So the thighs, the legs are down on the mat, the chest is lifted, hands are down. We can separate the feet slightly. Lift through the spine. And then bending in the right leg, you're going to shift the weight on over to the left arm. See if you can take hold of the right foot with the right hand and slowly start to draw the right heel towards the right bum cheek. Now, obviously I live in quite an open body, so this isn't necessarily going to be the same for all of us. Maybe you're feeling the stretch here. The stretch is down the quadriceps, so this nice big muscle at the front of the thigh. Really pushing the hips into the mat. And release. Placing the right hand down, bend in the left foot, take hold of the left foot and slowly start to draw the left heel towards the bottom. Trying to stay nice and lifted through the chest. Oh, that stretch feels so good down the front of the quads. And release. Good. Okay. Placing the hands down underneath the shoulders, going to tuck under the toes and come back to a downward facing dog. So like I say, for those of you maybe newer to the yoga practice, feet come about hip width apart, taking a nice deep bend through the knees, spreading through the fingers, and finding a nice straight line through the crown of the head all the way to the bottom. Those of you ready to straighten through the legs, by all means, straighten up. But just don't let that have an effect on the length of the spine. We want to keep the spine super lengthened at all times. From here, taking a little pedal from foot to foot. So as you bend one knee, the other heel pushes down towards the mat, working between the two. Coming to find stillness. And then from here, you're going to step the right foot to between the hands, drop the back knee down, coming to find what is known as our runner's lunge or just a low lunge. So if you've got blocks and you need to put some blocks by the side of you to keep the chest lifted, by all means do. If you want to interlace the hands, take them onto the knee and allow those hips to work forward. It's a really nice juicy stretch. Lifting through the chest, really staying switched on in the core. Okay, and then the bottom shifts back. Lots of you will know this well as half split. Bottom shifts back. The toes on the right foot are flexed, and we're drawing the right hip back in towards us to really get that stretch down the hamstring. So if coming into a forward fold is no good for you, again, take your blocks either side of you to support. We're really focusing on this nice stretch down here. On an inhale, work your way forward. Place the hands on the inside of the right foot. You're going to heel toe the foot out to the side and then drop down if you can, either staying up on the hands, and then if you would like to, you could drop down to the forearms here. So opening through the hips. And then seeing if you can come onto the outside of this right foot. So really opening now. And if this is too intense, then just staying up on the hands and breathing into it. Those of you wanting to go a little deeper, taking the right hand to the right knee, opening the chest up to the sky. Adding a little bit of gentle pressure on that knee. Holding here, breathing into it. Those of you with the chest opened, releasing, everybody coming up onto the hands, placing the right foot down, just heel toe it slightly more into the center line. You're going to come off the back knee, keeping the left hand on the inside. You're going to open that right arm all the way up to the sky. Holding here. And releasing all the way down, pressing through the hands. You're going to bring the right knee to the inside by the right wrist. So we're coming down for pigeon. Now here's where we might want some blocks and some bolsters. We're going to hang on here for a while. So first of all, block to maybe put underneath the bottom to lift up. And then maybe if you've got a bolster, have that in front of you and just let yourself release onto the bolster. So finding the position that works for you. And then taking the hands or the forearms forward, close off the eyes. Breathing here. Maybe seeing if with each exhale, you can just go a tiny little bit deeper. Feel the body surrendering to the stretch. Starting to walk the hands all the way up. Placing the hands down, tuck under the toes. You're going to come back to a high plank position. And then on an exhale, we're going to wave the body all the way back to our downward facing dog. On an inhale now, coming forward, left foot comes down to the lunge. And we're back now for the left side, same sequence. So either holding your blocks either side of you or interlacing the hands up on the knee. And so while staying strong and lifted, you also want to feel like the body can release just a little bit in terms of letting the stretch go deeper, rather than sort of staying stiff and fighting away from the stretch. So it's that kind of fine line between everything being super rigid, but also not letting everything relax so much to the point that it's kind of dangerous. Again, working with the breath. And then placing the fingertips down, bottom goes back, left foot draws towards you. And then we shift, you pull that left hip back in towards the body as the left toes draw towards the body as well. On an inhale, coming forwards, you're going to place both hands on the inside of the left foot, heel toe the left foot open, and then option, like before, staying up here on the hands, or if you can come a little deeper, coming down onto the forearms, and just letting that front foot open out onto the outside of the foot. Maybe taking an inwards gaze, closing the eyes. Those of you wanting to go a little deeper, you can open the chest. Left hand comes to the left knee. Everybody releasing to the hands. Okay, tucking under the back foot, just heel toe that left foot in ever so slightly. Right hand stays next to the left foot, and then we inhale, left arm reaches up to the sky. Placing left hand down on the mat now, really pushing through the hands so that you can lift the foot and bring the left knee to the left wrist, coming down for pigeon on our left side. So again, using the block underneath the left bum, maybe having a bolster that you can just rest your head on, maybe coming down to the forearms. So using this time as kind of a way to restoratively stretch into the body. On an inhale, starting to lift all the way up. Beautiful, tucking under the back foot, pressing back to your high plank. And then you're going to lower down to the knees, keeping the toes tucked under. Some of you might know what's coming. And then we're going to sit back. So yes, toe stretch, because you runners, you're on your feet. Actually, us humans, we're on our feet constantly, and it's so rare that our toes get a really good stretch, which is why it can be quite painful. So if this is too much for you, you can ease off the pressure by just taking the fingertips down to the mat. If you are here and you're ready to stay here, you're just going to bring the hands to heart center, grow through the crown of the head. Breathe into that stretch and breathe into the resistance of the stretch, because if you're anything like me, there is a lot of resistance happening right now. You can smile as well if you wish. Staying with me. If it is too much for you, just come down and take child's pose. The rest of us will just be here a few moments longer. And release super slowly. Ooh. Okay, release the feet. Just maybe give them a little tap down on the mat. Good. And then just sit back onto the heels. We're going to take it going, so opening out through the ankles, whereby we sit back. Again, you can keep the fingertips down. So this time we're lifting the knees up. We won't stay here for as long. We're stretching out through the fronts of the ankles. Now, if your ankles are extremely tight, this is going to be very tricky. So the knees might only come off a little bit. So just work with you. That's what yoga is all about. It's just working with your deepest stretch. And working with your body. And release Oh, amazing. Okay, just swing those legs around and let the legs go out in front of you. So coming into Paschimottanasana, our forward fold, it may be that you are going to want to sit on a block, maybe even 2 blocks. Also, you might want to put a little bolster in to make this more restorative. So I'm leaving all of these options open for you. Ready for a nice deep hamstring stretch. On an inhale, grow tall through the spine. Exhale, start to move the body forwards. So this whole time, keeping the spine straight. So if that only means that you can only come to here, that's good. If you want to work with a strap around the feet to help you pull into the stretch but keep the spine long, then by all means, that's a really, really great place to be. It's a lot of the ways I work with my students is on using a strap in Paschimottanasana. Closing off the eyes wherever you are. Flexing through the feet, keeping the feet switched on, the legs are switched on. On an inhale, bringing yourself all the way up to seated. Coming to find an Navasana boat pose. So you runners will probably, possibly have kind of tight hip flexors sometimes. So this isn't a stretch, but this is us switching them on, and then we're going to move down to the floor to give them a nice stretch out. So you can either hold behind the knees here, or take the arms out long. Just holding here. Really, really great core work as well. Nice and tall through the spine. And release. Amazing. Swing yourself around. Come down to lie on your left side. You can, I was going to get in the way of my microphone. So you can lay down with your head in your hand if you wish, or you could release the head all the way down. You're going to bend in the right leg, draw that right foot, towards the bum, and push the hips forward. So I'm pushing my hips towards you, towards the camera. Again, stretching all the way down the front of the quad and also the hip flexors all the way down here. And release. Switching sides, you guys can just roll over if you wish. I'm going to swing around so that you can still see what I'm doing. This time, left leg bends in. And push those hips towards, well, either your screen or if you've turned around, the other direction. And release. Good, okay. Bringing yourself back up to seated. I'm going to put the feet a little bit wider than hip width apart. I'll actually do this facing you. You're going to sit back into the hands. So you're leaning back ever so slightly. And we're just going to let the legs, so we're going to work on a little bit of mobility. So window wiping them over. Okay. So just moving through this. Couple more times. You might notice that one side is tighter than the other. That's very normal. It's very good to notice. Yoga is all about observing the body, being aware of how it feels. Okay, one more going each way. Coming into Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet come together, knees drop out to the side. Again, either sitting on some blocks, or you could cushion and block underneath your knees. Really want to focus on getting the spine long, growing through the crown of the head. Again, like we did at the start, bring your mind to that rolling back outwards of the thighs, and then seeing if you can maybe come into a little forward fold. If you're a little bit deeper, you could take the elbows onto the thighs, onto the legs for a nice self-adjust. On an inhale, lifting the body all the way up, swinging yourself around. And we're coming down to our final relaxation. So you have options, either finishing in Shavasana, so that is coming down to the mat, taking the feet all the way down, or you could have them bent up, or if it feels good to you, you could finish in child's pose. So I'm going to give you that option, but just work with the relaxation wherever you choose for it to be. Palms of the hands facing upwards if you've come down for Shavasana. A couple of breaths, sighing out through the mouth. One more. Let the body melt down into the mat. And again, just taking a scan of the body, noticing the differences that you can feel in the body now in comparison to when you started. So either staying here for a while longer, or hugging those knees into the chest, maybe taking a little rock side to side, and making your way all the way to seated, closing off the eyes, growing tall through the crown of the head, hands come to heart center. So I imagine that some of you joining me for this yoga for runners are maybe new to yoga, so I welcome you back with a very open heart and open arms, and I hope you join me for some other yoga stretches. Those of you that are here with me every single week, I salute you, and I have so much respect for every single one of you coming to your mats and practicing with me. Namaste. Thank you all so much for flowing with me. I hope that you enjoyed that as much as I did. My lower body feels nice and open and relaxed now. So yes, those of you that are running and that were runners, I really hope that that got into the nitty-gritty parts that you kind of can't quite get into when it's just you by yourself. So thank you for joining me, and like I say, make sure you subscribe for weekly yoga flows and other weekly videos every Wednesday and Sunday. Thank you, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.